It's my pleasure this morning to be interviewing Harry Medland, who was a lieutenant of the engineers during the Second World War. He was serving on Timor when he became a prisoner of war, and we'll now pause whilst Harry takes the chair and we'll hear of his experiences in his own words. Harry, thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview this morning, and I wonder if you might start by telling us where you were born, briefly where you went to primary school, high school, and maybe when you developed your passion for science, physics and mathematics, and when you joined the militia.
Okay, well, I was born, Peter, look, let me say first how pleased I am to meet you. I'm aware of the magnificent work you're doing for ex-Japanese prisoners of war. I was born at a place called Orroroo. It's in the lower ranges of the Flinders. Born on the 4th of January 1920. I'm told it was a terrible day, but every 4th of January at Orroroo is a terrible day. I went to the local area school there. By the time I went there, it was a higher primary school, so it ran from years 1 to 8, and in my day the qualifying certificate was done at the end of year 7, so this was 1 year of post-primary education. It is now a proper area school with the range of students from reception to matriculation. Still about the same number of students, about 200 there as there were when I attended. My father was wounded at Villers-Bretonneux in the First World War. He was in the 43rd Battalion, and we had to come to Adelaide when I was about 10 years of age for treatment for him. I was then able to get into Adelaide Technical High School, which was an opportunity school similar to Fort Street High School in New South Wales. We were supposed to be bright to get in there. I became dux of my group. I've always wanted an education. I had an ambitious mother, one of 12 children. She was born in Mount Barker, went to Orroroo as a lady's companion. If I had dared call her a maid, I think I would not have survived my early days. I was about 10 when I told her not to hit me anymore, and she didn't. And I'm interested in this debate about slapping that's going on at the moment. Slapping never hurt anybody, in my opinion, but I was fed up with it by the time I was 10. As I say, I went to Adelaide Technical High School, which was run by the then South Australian School of Mines and Industries, which was a tertiary education institution. I was amazed. There were 3 technical high schools in South Australia, one at Goodwood, one at Theberton. The Goodwood one was called Goody Tech, and one of my brothers, Arthur, 15 months younger than me, who was also a Japanese prisoner of war, he went to Goody Tech and qualified as a master plumber. But government, I've forgotten whose government it was, got rid of the technical schools. They're now, as you know, we're trying to bring them back to provide young students to go to the TAFE colleges and get professions, and to dissuade people who, unfortunately, in past years have been prompted to overpopulate the universities. And I think Australian universities are overpopulated. There's certainly twice the number of universities there should be. The population worldwide is considered to be, for a decent university, about 1 million people. We've got 20 million here, and we've got nearly 40 universities, so-called universities, so twice the number. So I went to Adelaide Technical High School, matriculated from there, and was apprenticed as an electrician. I qualified as the holder of an A-class electrical workers licence. But you ask how I've always wanted an education. As a prisoner, I was very fortunate to meet up with my mentor, Engineer Lieutenant Felix van Wijk, and I pedantically articulate the Dutch phoneme W-I-J-K is pronounced VAG, and it took me some time to be able to do it. He was superb, and I studied voraciously, writing with my finger in the sand, and I made up a book which you might like to see a bit later on. And
I think it might be opportune now if you'd like to show it to the screen.
Well, Peter, I became an expert thief, like most of Japanese POWs, and with our fanduchis you could hide all sorts of things in there without the Japs bothering. Anyway, I was able to steal 10 foolscap leaves, and out of that I was able to make four pages of each leaf. So this book, which I secreted, we were not allowed to do this sort of stuff. This book is full of material which I then transcribed. There are about 1,000 words and symbols on every page.
Can I bring that close to the camera so that you can see some of the detail? Thank you.
Well, as I say, there are 40 pages of that material, and after the war, I was able to get a CRTS fellowship, a Commonwealth Reconstruction Training Scheme fellowship, to go to Adelaide University and do mathematics and physics. So I switched from engineering to mathematics and physics. I was given credit for a lot of this work, but having been a Japanese, what they called a guest of the Imperial Japanese Army of Dai Nippon Gun, and I tell you, if anyone ever offers you to be such a guest, knock them back pretty quickly. So I wasn't fit enough to take advantage, and it took me about 2 years to recover and get into full swing. And I did honours physics and got first class honours. And then I got a lectureship in the physics department in 1951, and have done research work. I've been on study leave in Cambridge University and also the London School of Physics. They had a medical research council unit in Drury Lane, halfway up from the Strand to the British Museum. It was a beautiful place to be. And I worked there with the Nobel laureate Maurice Wilkins on DNA. And just in the hall there I have a beautiful X-ray photograph of the B form of deoxyribonucleic acid. And I took that in 1964, and I claim that to be the best photograph of DNA, X-ray photograph ever taken. So briefly, that's how I came to be mixed up as a physicist in research work in molecular biology.
Now, we go back to the 1930s now, and Australia was in a recession or depression, and you joined the militia. What encouraged you to join the militia, and what was your progress in it, and how effective was it?
Yeah, I liked the army, and I liked it for a number of reasons. I was encouraged to join it by my father's experience in the First World War. He was a boy from Orroroo, and like every country town, the boys played in the band, and the father played the trumpet and the bugle and the cornet. So when he joined the 43rd Battalion in 1916, he was made a stretcher bearer. He was in the band, made a stretcher bearer, and bandsmen were the stretcher bearers. So it was a curious life, because on the one hand, there's a danger. Probably stretcher bearing in infantry battalions is probably the most dangerous thing of the lot. I used to march with him on Anzac Day. I had as it were then a military education of a sort, and I joined the 3rd Field Company of the Royal Australian Engineers as soon as I turned 18. I worked very hard. I became a corporal quickly, then I became a sergeant. I got my spurs. I went to an officer